the lead back in this game. But crucially, Sangho is boxed in that main. Sangho's only got that one expansion. Saviour's got that extra expansion on top of him. Sangho's sneaking a Dark Templar around, but I think that's not going to bother Saviour. He's got Overlord over that base, as well as a Sunken to deal with the Dark Templar. That Dark Templar is within range, and that Sunken perfectly positioned to cover the entire mineral line at the 9 o'clock base. Saviour just wandering around the map. Sangho building up his forces. Looks like he's ready to push out. He's got a significant force of Zealots, and it'll be interesting to see how Saviour copes with this. This is going to come down to micro, folks. Saviour's going to have to micro brilliantly here to cope with Sangho's push. Sangho pushing down, and excuse me, crucially, Saviour's units have been maneuvered away from that pass, allowing Sangho into the middle of the map. But maybe that's what Saviour wants. Maybe he wants to fight on more open ground. He doesn't want to try and allow the Zealots to just form a wall against Saviour's units. And Saviour's surely aware that Sangho's pushed down. Maybe Saviour making those lurkers, and that's crucial, because if Sangho pushes down and Saviour's just trying to hold that ramp, Sangho's, I believe, pushed down not so much so to attack Saviour, but to try and take that expansion at the 3 o'clock position to try and make sure that his economy keeps flourishing, and that's exactly what he's done. He's pushed forward, and he's got a shuttle as well. It'll be interesting what is in those shuttles. I have no doubt that there are High Templar in those shuttles, and Saviour might be in massive trouble here. Sangho might be trying to drop Saviour's base here. Saviour's got to be aware of that. The lurker eggs were in the range, and we're just seeing the first person move of Sangho there. Those lurker eggs, I'm not sure if they saw that shuttle, so it'll be interesting to see Sangho with the shuttle now heading for that expansion. Saviour's national expansion. Saviour's not got anything to interest up to here. This might be the turning point here. There might be a drone massacre on the cards here. Storm goes off. There's only one High Templar. Storm goes off, but it inflicts massive damage. The lone High Templar kills off about 6 or 7 drones. Saviour can ill afford this, my friends. But Saviour, in the meantime, has committed his forces to taking that 3 o'clock expansion, and there's a massive battle raging here at that 3 o'clock position. Sangho with only the one High Templar, committing only one High Templar to that attack. Sangho now has observers out to try and counter. Sangho going in with another drop. That shuttle, I'm not sure whether he's loaded up another High Templar into that. Initially, actually, he did have 2 High Templar and a Zealot, so he's going to drop again. So those High Templar probably have enough energy for another storm. Sangho trying to take that expansion back, and looks like he's going to be successful. Looks like Sangho inflicting serious damage. Saviour, though, this time with some troops to counter the High Templar. The High Templars get taken out, so he doesn't inflict further damage on Saviour's economy, but he has, I think, been able to buy himself enough time to take that expansion back to 3 o'clock. Saviour, in the meantime, has set up an expansion at the 11 o'clock. I'm sorry about that, guys. I was completely noob there. I missed the fact that Sangho only had 1 Zealot. I thought he had a couple of Zealots and 1 High Templar. He actually had 2 High Templar and a Zealot in that force in that shuttle. So Sangho delivering some damage to Saviour's economy and really playing well out of his skin here. Saviour seems to be coping okay. Saviour doesn't seem to be at a disadvantage. He's not allowed Sangho to build up a huge force, but Sangho's turning on the macro here. His economy is certainly doing well. He's now got about 8 gateways up, and Saviour's going to find this difficult to cope with as the game goes on, even though he's got a good economy. Saviour circling around with a handful of speeded up Zerglings is going to try and catch Sangho off guard, and Saviour's units get back, and Saviour focusing on that Nexus. If that Nexus goes down, Sangho's going to be crying big time here. That Nexus is going down. That Nexus might get taken down, and the Nexus is cancelled. Saviour cancels the Nexus. Brilliance by Saviour. He knows how to fight, and it is as Sun Tzu says, when you are many appear few, when you are few appear many, and Saviour has appeared many with his few Zerglings circling around the back of that base, using the terrain to maximum advantage, despite the fact that he doesn't have a huge army, despite the fact, and we're seeing a situation here where the Zerg player doesn't seem to have a large force on the ground to fight face-to-face against the Protoss opponent. We had the face-to-face battle. The Protoss opponent came out on top, took the expansion to the 3 o'clock position, and now he's got free reign of the map, and Saviour's got to concentrate on keeping his opponent on balance, maneuvering around the map, and Saviour really surviving just with Zerglings. Sangho's built up a significant force, and when Sangho comes out with his big push, it'll be interesting to see how Saviour copes, and it'll be key for Saviour to keep Sangho off balance, and Sangho just replenishing his High Templar there. Saviour's got the left side of the map, Sangho's got the right side of the map, so the map fairly evenly divided at this point in time. Saviour with the 1 extra expansion, but that's not going to bother Sangho since he is Protoss, and that 1 extra expansion is not going to make a huge difference towards Sangho. Saviour once again going for sending a group of Zerglings at that 5 o'clock expansion where Sangho looks like he was setting up another base, but Sangho is ready for his main push. Saviour trying to go for that Observer. Saviour manages to take the Observer down. Brilliance by Saviour, and Sangho, careless play there. If he had just put those Dragoons in auto attack mode, they would have killed off the Scourge. He had a large group of Dragoons there and still managed to lose his Observer, and that was very careless. And Saviour with another group of Zerglings circumnavigating around, trying to take that 3 o'clock expansion, but Sangho's got some defenses up there. Saviour crucially has got his Defilers then up, so that's going to be interesting. Sangho doesn't have anything, doesn't have those tank busters that we've seen in previous games from Nal Ra. We saw with Nal Ra, I can't remember who it was that he was beaten by, Nal Ra versus Oversky in the ace match actually, and Nal Ra had Reavers, and that's what Sangho is really going to need to fight against Defilers under Defiler Storm. Sangho with the large group, Saviour with a more spread out army, and Saviour maneuvering constantly on the map. Sangho now going for that expansion to the 9 o'clock. He's taken the ramp. Saviour once again going for the Observer, and Saviour doesn't have an Overlord to see the Observer. He had the Scourge there in time, but he couldn't see the Observer, so the Observer survived. That was a little bit of a careless timing with Saviour, and Saviour's army dies. Saviour sending his army from all 3 directions. Sangho just stood firm and beat them off, and Saviour's defense fails, and now Saviour's going to lose this expansion. There's no doubt in my mind that Sangho's going to kill off this expansion. Saviour, though, with reinforcements arriving, Sangho's left a couple of units straggling up at the top of the ramp, but he's still got Storm surviving. Saviour's still trying crucially to take that down. I think that Observer has finally gotten taken down, and Saviour looks like he's going to survive. I can't believe Saviour's actually been able to defend this successfully. Careless by Sangho. He lost his Observer, and he split some of his forces. Saviour managed to circle around and just about survive that attack. Sangho's got reinforcements arriving, though, but those reinforcements are arriving a second too late to finish off the battle conclusively for him. And even though it looks like he still has a little bit of an upper hand, and Saviour once again picks off another Observer, so his lurkers are going to be able to hold the line. Sangho concentrating on masked goons. I think he could have used a few more Zealots there versus those Zerglings. Sangho now, though, has bought himself the breathing space he needs to set up that expansion at the 5 o'clock position. Saviour sending a group of Zerglings around to try and maneuver those Dragoons and Zealots away. And now Sangho has switched production to Zealots. He's got a few Zealots out, though that's not going to... Saviour's set a lurker down in the path, trying to defend that base at the 9 o'clock base. I'm not sure if Sangho's aware of the base at 11 o'clock position, if he's deciding to go for that, but he hasn't yet committed himself to that attack, and once again going for that ramp, and I'm not sure exactly, I haven't seen this map, but I'm not sure how accessible that 11 o'clock base is, and say, once again Sangho barreling down. This time he's got Zealots to front those Dragoons. Last time Saviour's Zerglings were able to get in and amongst those Dragoons. Crucially, though, this time Sangho does not have High Templar. Saviour once again bring those Zerglings around behind to try and get at those Dragoons, and Saviour putting down the lurker as well, so looks like Saviour's going to hold his defense here again. Sangho's got more Zealots arriving just in time to defend. This is going to be the crucial battle here. Saviour's got another sunken up as well, so Saviour defending desperately, holding the line, holding the defense, but you've just got to feel that Sangho is edging forward, edging ahead in the map, because he's now establishing economic parity with Saviour, and you just feel this game slipping from Saviour's grasp, even though he has that tech. We haven't seen any Defiler swarms yet. Saviour has got a Defiler up. I think he had a Defiler up earlier, but I think it got picked off in the melee before he could get his swarm off, so that was good micro by Sangho. Sangho making a couple of light mistakes in terms of a micro, not taking off the Scourge out earlier on when he had a chance to really press and hurt Saviour, and in that last battle he went without any High Templar, and Saviour allowed to survive. And this time again Sangho seems to favour that 1 Zealot, 2 Templar in the 1 shuttle, and I think that's wise. 2 Templar are more than enough to hurt the economy. If 2 Templar don't do it, 4 Templar certainly aren't going to. And Saviour, though, Sangho looks like he might be going with that shuttle. I believe he's heading for that expansion at the 11 o'clock position, but there are no drones there crucially for Saviour. Saviour hasn't built up a large force of drones there, so Saviour won't mind that. He's got a lot of Sunkens, so those High Templar won't do much, but I'm sure Sangho will simply load them back up, and Saviour now with a large force able to hold off Sangho's main force, so that's critical, and Saviour's got to see that shuttle. Saviour's got to see that shuttle with that overlord, that shuttle heading over to that 11 o'clock expansion. Saviour's got to see that shuttle coming. He's got to move his drones out of the way and try and counter Sangho's forces, and Sangho being held off in terms of its defense. Sangho with the storm, those High Templar are going to get taken out. Saviour loses all of the drones at that expansion, but critically he didn't. I don't think he had too many. He lost about 3 or 4 drones. I think he'll take that. I think he'll take that for 2 High Templar. I think he will consider that an equitable exchange, and it won't bother him too much. Sangho still, I would feel, with a slightly upper hand in this game, but really he is giving Saviour a run for his money here. Saviour, though, crucially, and this is one of the things that Zerg players often fail to do versus Protoss players, is that they don't have an army strong enough to fight head to head with the Protoss and keep them at bay, and Saviour has managed to do that successfully. But in terms of economy, Saviour now putting up that Ultra's Cavern. Sangho still doesn't look like, I haven't seen a robotic support player or anything, doesn't look like he's going to have Reavers anytime soon to cope with those Ultras. Certainly High Templars on his own not going to be enough. You need a few Archons at the very least, and that Observer now scouting Saviour's forces, and it'll be interesting to see when Sangho decides to produce a few Reavers and put them in the shuttles, because he certainly is going to need them to finish this game up, I feel. But in terms of economy, they're both players with equal number of expansions now, and that's got to favour Sangho, the Protoss player, and Saviour leaving those lurkers undefended. They bought him just enough time, and Saviour with the Defiler Swarm, but the Observer gets taken out, but Storm going off on all of those units. Saviour mostly fighting with Zerglings, and Zerglings, it doesn't matter if you've got a Defiler Swarm, they're not going to be able to do much against those High Templar. Saviour with the Defiler trying to last minute gaps to try and get a Swarm up. He gets another Swarm up, but unfortunately for him, the storm goes off over all of Saviour's early, and Saviour really fighting with nothing now, and Sangho, you've got to feel this time, and Plague goes off! Saviour's Defiler, just as it dies, another Plague goes off. Brilliant storm by Sangho, though. Sangho's really doing a great job against Saviour here, and he's now going to be able to have a couple of Archons as well from those spent High Templar, which have usually his High Templar had died afterwards, but that Plague critical, and Sangho now trying to take that expansion down. He's been unsuccessful in taking that expansion down thus far in this game. He again seems to have lost his Zealots. He doesn't have a lot of Zealots to protect those Dragoons, and that Plague looks like it's been the deciding factor in the outcome of this battle, and Saviour managed to take the Archons down as well, so Saviour somehow, somewhere holding on against Sangho's forces. That Plague absolutely critical. Sangho now taking the expansion at the 6 o'clock position. Saviour very much on the back foot in this game, folks. Saviour very much on the back foot. He's got that Ultra's Cavern up. Does he have enough resources to keep up this fight and to produce their Ultra's Cavern? And Saviour trying to chase those Dragoons down that were hurt by the Defiler, try and finish them off, and he manages to pick off one of the Dragoons. Sangho still with about 5 or 6 goons surviving. Saviour sending a group of Zerglings down to that expansion at the 12 o'clock, at the 6 o'clock base before it can get set up, and looks like he will take that expansion out. Sangho set a couple of speeded up Zealots down as well, but that's not going to bother Xavier. Xavier should kill those Zealots off really first, but he realizes Sango's got reinforcements coming, so Xavier once again focusing on the Nexus. We saw him do this before at the Nexus at 3 o'clock, and he takes down the Nexus at the 6 o'clock, and this time he's delivered a significant blow to Sangho, because this time he's taken on the Nexus after it was complete, and that is absolutely critical. Last time Sangho was able to salvage some resources by cancelling the Nexus at the last moment. This time Xavier's forces arrived just after the Nexus was completed and just before the photon cannons were, and Xavier's managed to save up enough resources to get a couple of Ultralists up. I'm not sure if they're going to be enough. Again, crucially, Sangho does not have Reavers, and I think that might be the telling factor in this game. Sangho, though, in a very strong position right now in this game. He's got more than enough in terms of economy and resources, though critically his expansion did go up at the same time as Xavier, so that's one of the advantages that he won't have usually with the Zerg player. Since Zergs expand faster, they also lose their fast expand faster, but Xavier